Hello, Garland Nixon here, and today we're going to talk about the concept of a mercenary army. Kind of gives me the creeps a little bit. Let's talk. Uh-oh, did I just hit the wrong button? Doggone it. Hold on a second here. Okay, sorry about that, gang. I was struggling with my microphone. I reached to grab my mic, and I hit the wrong button on it. Okay, all looks good. All right, let's talk about this. Somebody says, and the man of the hour, drum roll, Garland. Hello, hello. All right, let's talk. So first of all, let me start. This is not some anti-immigrant screed. This is not some, oh, the immigrants are coming to eat us kinds of stuff. For those of you who've maybe never watched me before, this is my position on immigration. Are you ready? The undocumented immigrants showing up at the border, whether it's in Europe or in the United States, is the ruling elites' policy of destabilizing countries all over the world showing up at our border. That's what it is. People get mad at the immigrants. Oh, the darn immigrants. What do you think happened? The United States overthrows governments. Remember how this whole immigrant thing started in that really went bad in Europe? What was it? A couple of million Syrian immigrants. If I'm not mistaken, look up Operation Timber Sycamore. Good old Barack Obama decided they're going to do a dirty war on Syria and overthrow the government. And what do you know? Millions of immigrants showed up. They overthrew Libya. And what do you know? Muammar Gaddafi warned them. He said, look, this is the gateway to Africa. There is a lot of poor African people. And if you overthrow this country, they're going to go right through here and show up to Europe. And the Europeans were like, oh, free labor, cheap labor, huh? Let's see if we can make this happen, right? Look at the U.S. history in the global South. All over, name a country in South America that we haven't overthrown. Look up the United Fruit Company, Nestle's, on and on and on. The United States overthrows these countries, and then the people show up on our border. Look up, I brought this up many times. What happened in NAFTA? NAFTA, as a result of NAFTA, big farms, right? Big agriculture killed the price of corn and the things that the poor peasant subsistent farmers in New York, in Mexico, were making a living. We did NAFTA. Big agro comes in there, destroys the market, knocks the price out. And what happens? 1.4 million farmers lost their farms in Mexico, and they showed up. And everybody's like, oh my God, there's Mexican immigrants at the border. How'd that happen? So I'm not anti-immigrant. I'm not pro-immigrant. I'm nothing. It is what it is. I'm not anti-wind. I'm not pro-tide. I'm not clouds. Doesn't matter whether I'm for or against wind or tide or clouds or the sun coming up. It's going to happen. And here's the bottom line. The ruling elite are destabilizing regions of the world, overthrowing their government, screwing these people out of what meager ever living they have for the last century. And guess what? They show up at your border, and then the schmucks here are like, hey, I hate these immigrants. Boo, the immigrants. And they'll go, well, they want to go fight the immigrants. They want to take violence against the immigrants. But you know what they don't want to do? They don't want to get pissed at the people who are creating the environment that creates this immigration. Isn't that interesting? That's my position. Let's move. Now, let me say this. That being said, that takes me to another direction before we get into the meat of this thing. The ruling elite, that remember this, no matter how much they talk about Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, no matter how much they get the idiots and schmucks to go along with them for the next war. Hey, China's evil. And then so that, there's a certain element in our society that no matter how much they lie to them, will always buy the next lie. That when they say weapons of mass destruction, and we're like, yeah, okay, we think we've been lied to. And then when they come up and say, China, the Communist Party of China is evil, and they'll go like, yeah, let's go along. John Bolton and Biden, Nikki Haley, they got it right. Let's go after China. Right? Oh, who else? Iran. That's right, Iran. Yeah, Bolton and all of those people, the globalists that I claim to hate so much. When it comes to foreign policy, I just love them when it comes to China and Iran. North Korea, they're evil. Instead of recognizing that you're being had. But look, you know what? You can't teach people what they don't want to learn, right? Some people just want to go along with any damn thing. That's their business. But here's the problem. Who they're really afraid of is you. Well, that's what you don't understand. They are getting you to hate your neighbor. They're getting you. Oh, hey, your neighbor's unvaxxed. Oh, my God, I'm scared to death of my neighbor. He's unvaxxed. Oh, there's your other neighbor. He's different than you. He worships different. Oh, my God, he's different than me. That's what they want you to do. Because they got a plan. They got to keep you at bay. They got to keep you distracted. Because if you wake up one day and realize that they're the ones screwing us, and there ain't that many of them, you might. I'm just saying, somebody in the crowd might whisper that old saying, somebody get a rope. And the ruling elite understand that language, if nothing else. And they know that they're always on the verge of somebody get a rope. They know that they're always on the edge, that if you ever figure out what they're doing and why, you won't be mad at China. You won't be mad at Iran. You won't be mad at North Korea. You won't be mad at Russia. You'll be mad at the people that are screwing you to the wall. Now, let's talk about their latest escapade. What evil deeds, what diabolical methods are they going to use to take you to the cleaners and screw you over? And then once you get angry and you say, I've had enough, they're going to say, oh, okay, well, guess we got to deal with you. I guess we got to suppress this uprising. The unwashed, the hoi polloi are getting above themselves. And how would they go about that? Let's start here. Let's start here. Looky here. U.S. military should recruit more non-citizens, including illegal immigrant, U.S. Senator says with a new bell. Senator Tammy Duckworth is spearheading an initiative to address recruitment shortfalls within U.S. military by expanding the eligibility for non-citizens to serve, right? It's going to bolster the military's ability to meet its manpower requirements, right? Allowing highly qualified, longtime residents of our great nation the opportunity to serve is of love and common sense. Oh, they're going to give love and common sense. Oh, they're so nice. Love and common sense. They're going to do that. Let me explain something to you before I go any further with this. You see, my friends, if you know history, one of the things that ends a government, that ends power for a king or a monarch, or in this instance, a totalitarian regime, right, is this: when the people come to the Capitol and gather around, and then the rulers say, people, get back. Get back. And the crowds are, and the troops are in front of them, between them and the people. And the people say, but we have no food. We have no bread. And they say, of course, let them eat cake, whatever. And the people say, we're coming at you. And they say, if you don't go home, we're going to tell the troops to open up with you with the machine guns. Now, that's supposed to scare the people, right? But here's what the ruling elite really know. If they ever say to the troops, open up on those bastards with the machine guns. Yeah, let's give them a couple of machine gun blasts. Let's take out a couple hundred in the rows in the front just to let these people know who's boss. And they would if they could get away with it, right? The fear they have is that the troops may say, hey, that's my aunt out there. That's my friend. That's my brother. That's my sister. That's my family member. That's my fishing buddy. Hey, man, me and that guy went hunting for varmints or something. I don't know what the hell, varmint hunting, right? Their problem is that they know that the people in the military may look out and say to them, I'm not shooting my friends and relatives. No. And at that point, the ruling elite lose power and they get hung or their heads cut off or something. They know that. They understand that, right? Because the people in the military have a oftentimes share common values. They share a culture. They share a history. They listen to the same music. They have the same hobbies, right? They share something with the crowd, if you see where I'm going. So they are part of the crowd, and the crowd is part of them. This is their home. This is their loved ones. This is their people. They didn't join the military to kill these people. They joined the military because they thought that they were protected. Little did they know they were going to be sent around the world on misadventures by the ruling elite class to make the world safe for a corporate oligarchy. They had no idea. And now it comes down to it, and there they sit. Their rulers say, open up on the swine. And they say, we ain't doing that. They throw their guns down, or they turn on the ruling elite, whatever. At that point, the ruling elite is out of power, right? Why? Because the soldiers share a common set of values, a common history, a common worldview. There's their friends, their families, or people that remind them of their friends and families, right? That's why they won't shoot. So what do you have to do? You have to replace that military with a group of people that doesn't have that common history. I'm not saying that they're bad or better or worse than the people. We may be the most wonderful people in the world. But the difference is you need to replace that military with people. If your issue is putting down internal uprisings, and I don't know if you noticed, that's going to be an issue in the empire. Look what they're doing. They're starting wars that people don't want. Hungry people all over the place is a disaster. Poverty everywhere, right? Drugs and drug abuse, and which I would add is not from evil people. It's from, I call them crimes of despair. When you got people on the street, they can't feed their families. They can't do anything. They fall into despair. They drink their troubles away. They use drugs, their troubles away. Right? And so now you have people falling apart, upset. They're going to at some point get angry and start to rise. And when they do, you need an army of mercenaries that doesn't know these people, number one. And number two, that the ruling elite has over a barrel, right? Let's look. So we got, as I said, first of all, let's start here. First article. Go back to this. U.S. military should recruit more non-citizens, including illegal immigrants, right? Let's go to the next one. Democrat Senator Dick Durbin proposes letting illegal aliens serve in the military. The bulk of Durbin's comments centered on a plea with his Republican colleagues to reach across the aisle and work in a bipartisan manner to fix the broken immigration system. But then he added this interesting proposal: use illegal aliens to beef up military recruiting numbers, which are dismal. They don't give a damn about the illegal aliens, undocumented immigrants, displaced people, refugees. I don't care what you call them. They don't give a crap about those people. They don't care. Oh, what's happening? Isn't it interesting that they never really cared about them until all of a sudden they couldn't meet their recruitment goals. And as soon as they can't meet their recruitment goals, oh, those poor undocumented people, they've really got it rough. Come to think of it, perhaps we should act in a manner that's a bit more judicious and kind to them. Perhaps we could offer them something. I don't know. Perhaps we could come up with something for these poor, dear undocumented immigrants, a way that they could earn an honest living, get some benefits, and at the same time help out the community. Perhaps we could train them how to use a machine gun, a mortar. Perhaps if they needed to aim in the direction of a crowd that was getting a little out of hand, they could open up with the 50 caliber. I mean, they could defend liberty and democracy. Yeah, there we go. Right. Let's continue. So, and here's the tell. Read this article. He's supposed to be talking about, these poor undocumented immigrants. Here's what he says. Do you know what the recruiting numbers are at the Army, Navy, and Air Force? They can't reach their quotas each month. They can't find enough people to join our military forces, and there are those who are undocumented who want the chance to serve and risk their lives for this country, he explained. Should we give them a chance? I think we should. What a kindly gentleman. Isn't that so kind? And it's, one might say, conveniently timed that at the time that Americans in their right minds said, I ain't going to war for Joe frickin' Biden and these neocon mutts, that I'm not going to go help a genocide for as an example, go to the South Sea to fight China and get my troop carrier blown to smithereens and sink to the bottom of the ocean like the Titanic. I ain't doing that. Get out of here. And at the same time, they suddenly had a turn there was a turn of fate here where they looked and they said, there's undocumented immigrants and my heart bleeds for them. Let's give them a job. I don't know. What do you think? Maybe cutting grass? Nah. Wow. Well, they could clean up some buildings, work around the courthouse. You know what I mean? Shine up the state vehicles, police cars. They could clean. Oh, I have an idea that nobody ever thought of. We could put them in the military and train them to kill. Great idea. Because when they get out and they got post-traumatic stress disorder and they're totally freaked out, they've lost their minds, they've killed innocent people, and we'll bring them right back into society like we do now, and they'll be, oh, just wonderful, right? Now, let's go one bit further. You think, so I know what you're thinking. I live in Europe. These poor flipping idiots. Boy, you guys. Oh, you Americans are screwed. You're done. You're finished. Germany weighs allowing foreign citizens into the army. A senior lawmaker, probably his name was Joe Biden Schmidt, right? A senior lawmaker has told the DW a potential scheme that could include people not just from current EU members, but also from candidate countries and provide a quicker path to German citizenship, right? Free Democratic Party member Mary Agnes Strack-Zimmer, what the hell, who chairs the German Parliament's Defense Committee, said that she can envision opening up the German army to candidates from across the continent, right? I don't want to tie it down like that because it's to be legally scrutinized, she said. Defense Minister Boris Pistorius put forward the idea of welcoming non-Germans to a list in order to combat a drastic shorting in personnel. Wait, what's this? Isn't that interesting, right? In addition to Pistorius from the Social Democrats, the idea has also received support from lawmakers belonging to one of its two coalition partners. However, questions remain about how such a plan would be implemented. Okay. So I'm just saying, remember when COVID and all people were in the street all over the place and they said, no, no, no. And they thought, man, this is a problem we got. We got a problem here. And the problem we got is that if we tell the military to shoot them, they won't do it. They won't do it. Now, let me tell you what, somebody else had a good thing. Rolf Steiner had a good comment from Ukraine. There's a bunch of guys coming from Ukraine who don't want to go back. They don't want to go back. Germany, these other countries, and they're guys that would fit right in. You know, they're marching around, or shall I say, ghost stepping around, right? So you got a bunch of guys from Ukraine, undocumented immigrants. Hey, Ukrainian undocumented immigrant, Adolf. Adolf will be like, yeah, got an option. You can go back to Ukraine where there's no jobs and it's an ungodly hellhole. Okay. Or you can stay here. We'll put a gun in your hand and you can shoot and kill people. And he's like, oh, you had me at get to shoot and kill people. So they'll bring in these Ukrainian friggin' Nazis. Oh, that's just wonderful. And anyone else they can get, they said from across the continent. Oh, no, they ain't coming. Across the continent means Ukraine. That's what it means. It means if there's anybody left in Ukraine who still wants to shoot, they'll get them. Now, think about this. Right now, what's happening? Ukraine is saying to these countries in Europe, hey, send us men of your fighting age back because we need them for the military. Of course, they're nothing but cannon fodder. And you would think that Germany and these countries would say, we support Ukraine, fight the Ruskies, take them all back, put them in the military. But what's interesting is these European countries who know the war's lost are like, nah, we're not going to send these guys back. We got all of these military age men from Ukraine, many of who have an affinity for goose stepping and yelling Sieg Heil, and they're walking around with a dog-eared copy of Mein Kampf. They'd love to put on some fatigues and go shoot at somebody. So what they're saying to Ukraine now is, no, dude, you can't have them. We need them for later. Our people have wised up. Our people don't trust us anymore. They think we're up to no good because we are. And we're afraid to arm our own people because they may figure out what we've done to them when they realize their jobs are gone, when they realize their industry is gone, when they realize that they have been screwed, blued, and tattooed by us. If we put guns in their hands, they might come over to the headquarters building here where we live and shoot us all. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these Ukrainians we got here of military age, and we're going to train them. And then we're going to say to them, we got you over a barrel. Anytime you don't do what we do, we're going to send you home, back to Ukraine. So you better do what we do. What do you think they're going to do in America? Hey there, guys from Guatemala, El Salvador, whatever, right? Things are kind of rough because we overthrew your country 50 million times and destroyed the whole region. But things are kind of rough in your country, and you're going to have to do what we tell you to do, no matter what it is, or you're going back. You don't want to go back, do you? You're going back. If you don't do what we tell you to do, which might not always be pretty, you're going back. You see, Americans may say, I'm not going to do this. But if they got somebody over a barrel that doesn't want to go back to some war-torn country that they tore up themselves with war, the ruling elite tore these countries up with war, and now the next move is to take the people out of these countries, bring them home, arm them, and use them against you. And use them against you. That's the plan. Do you think it's a coincidence? Do you think it's just a coincidence that it happens in the U.S.? The U.S., hey, you know what? I think undocumented immigrants in the military might be a good move. At the same time, the Germans mysteriously go, hey, Olaf. Yeah, you know, I was just sitting around the other day eating some schnitzel, and something popped in my mind. What? Perhaps we could use undocumented immigrants. You know, all of those Ukrainians that are hanging around? Yeah. That don't want to go back to Ukraine? Yeah. We could put them in a uniform. Well, what good would that do? Well, you know, have you been looking at the streets lately? There's a lot of people in Germany in the streets, and they ain't happy. And they're getting less happy all the time. And I think I heard a guy the other day in the back go, somebody get a rope. Yeah, I think you're right. Well, we arm these Ukrainian refugees and we put them out front and we say to them, that crowd out there, if they don't do what we tell them to do, you machine gunning bastards. Oh, by the way, if you don't, you're going back to Ukraine. Oh, okay. I'll machine gun them. Why? Because they ain't looking out there seeing their brother. They ain't looking out there seeing their uncle. They're not looking out there at someone with whom they have a common set of values. They're not looking at someone who they have a common culture with, who they feel, hey, that guy's a German. You may be from different regions. You may speak with different dialects. There may be things different. But, you know, you all eat schnitzel, for God's sake. You know, hey, I don't know that guy over there. You know, the German military guy is standing there with a gun in his hand and he's looking out over the crowd and they say, hey, machine gun the crowd. And he says, okay, I'm going. And he looks out there and there's a guy eating schnitzel. And he's like, I'm going to machine gun. And he looks and it reminds him of when he was a child, when his dad used to feed him schnitzel. And he cries. And he says, my God, you want me to shoot that man? He reminds me of my father. He used to give me schnitzel when I was just 5 years old. He breaks down and cries. He puts his gun down and says, no, I ain't eating no schnitzel eating friend of mine. Not happening, you ruling elite class sons of bitches, you. Ain't happening. Well, they have foreseen just such a thing. So now they can put some Ukrainian refugee and say, shoot him. And he looks out there and he thinks to himself, I hate schnitzel. God, I hate schnitzel. And there's only one thing I hate worse than schnitzel, people who eat schnitzel. That guy right there with the schnitzel, he's the first dead man. He's a schnitzel eating dead man. Bam! And he shoots him first. Why? Why? Because he doesn't, this guy don't mean nothing to him. You don't know him. Doesn't have any background with him, could care less. And he knows that if he doesn't shoot him, they got him over a barrel. He's going back to Ukraine. He ain't going back to Ukraine. If you don't shoot him, what happens if I don't shoot him? You're going back to Ukraine. He's a dead man. Pow! He's done. Open up on the crowd. Sure. Who cares? Well, I ain't going back to Ukraine. I don't give a shit. Who cares? And now let's goose step back over to the barracks, right? Here, same thing. They're going to have immigrants. These immigrants are going to be over a barrel. So they're going to say fire, and immigrants are going to go like, well, that ain't right. I don't want to shoot these people. Well, if you don't, your ass is going back to El Salvador. Oh, crap. I don't want to go back to El Salvador. And we let you bring your wife and kids. They're back at the barracks. They're being fed. Do you really want you and your wife and children to go back to El Salvador where it's poor and there's crime and gangs? No. Well, then machine gun that damn crowd and shut up. Oh, crap. Okay. Machine gun the gang. That's what's up. You got to understand what you're dealing with here. You're not dealing with nice people. You're not dealing with kind people. You're not dealing with people who are on your side. They want to drag you into a war. You're a dead man, or your kids are dead men. What they want to do is say, we're going to war with Iran, and they want you to watch TV and support them. Yeah, those Iranian mullahs, got to get them. And then they want to show you something about China. Look at this. The Chinese people don't have rights. They need freedom. And you're like, yeah, I guess they need freedom. And shouldn't we ask them? No, we don't have to ask them. We're America. And you're like, all right, I'll call them. Hey, Chinese people, you need freedom? Now we're okay. They said they're okay. Shut up. They're not okay. They need freedom and democracy. They don't have rights. We got rights. So you, sir, you're going to get on a troop carrier. You're heading over to China, and we're going to bring them freedom and rights by killing as many of them as we can. Because let's face it, they may be happy with their government, but they don't really know what's going on. We're the only ones that can quite perfectly. Sure, China, do they have all kinds of like nice things there? Do they have new trains and infrastructure and jobs? And is their economy growing? Fair enough, but they don't have freedom. You know, the First Amendment. Haven't you ever heard of Hunter Biden's laptop? Right? In a country that charges Trump with 96 freaking charges just because he's really probably looks like he's going to win the election. Right? Hey, we got to have democracy like us. Really? What are we going to do? Well, whoever the opposition party is, they're going to charge them with 96 because we got freedom and democracy, except when it comes to the presidential race, except when it comes to all the other races, when AIPAC comes in and says, here's $100 million to knock out anybody who won't do anything that the Zionists want. We don't have freedom. We don't have rights. We got a few privileges, but they take them all the time. And this is the way they're looking at the future. See, the thing you got to remember, the ruling elite, they're not stupid, and they're looking into the future. And while they're telling you who to hate today, they're looking, I can see it, and probably a lot of people in the chat can see it, but I can see the direction this thing is going. Our economy is going to hell. We will be lucky if we make it to the end of this year without an economic crash, but there's another 2008 around the corner, and they know it. They're just holding it off. And they're like probably looking at time. How much time we got till the next 2008 style crash? About 18 months. How many undocumented immigrants can we get in the military before then? I don't know. Well, if we start right away, how many people? See, they're looking at the border. You're looking at the border and you're seeing like 100,000 immigrants, and you're like, hey, that's going to kind of disrupt the society if 100,000 people come wandering across the border. Perhaps we should consider how we're going to address this. Now, as you know, I'm going to say to you, you can't address it unless you stop screwing up their countries, overthrowing their government, and destabilizing their entire region. Other than that, forget it. But let's not even have that discussion. You're looking at it and you're saying, wow, there's a lot of people at the border. It's going to be kind of destabilizing for the country. They're looking at it and saying, well, here. There's a whole lot of cannon fodder and bodies there. And they got a whole lot in common with these people. I mean, they're nice, good, lovely, hardworking people with families there. Sure, wonderful. But they don't have the same culture and everything. They don't know these people. And if we put them in the military, we got them over a barrel, because all we got to say to them is do whatever the hell we want, or you're going back to your poor country. So they're seeing an opportunity here, right? You see a problem, they see an opportunity. You see 100,000 immigrants at the border, and you're like, what's going to happen when they all come? And we got homelessness all over the place. We got Americans who are homeless. I'm going to have more homeless people. That's problematic. This thing is falling apart and coming unglued. The wheels are coming off to a cart here. And now they start with the immigrants, and they said, we got a plan. We'll send them all to the cities, since you guys have, what do you call it? What do they call those? things, sanctuary cities. Okay, you got a sanctuary city. Here's 10 busloads full of immigrants. And what do you know? The people in the sanctuary cities suddenly realized, hey, this is expensive. We can't afford this. And the people like in Texas and Arizona said, you think? Really? Oh, amazing. The last 25 years, when we've been telling you this is a problem, you called us a bunch of racist, white supremacists, homophobe, whatever the hell, because we said it ain't that we hate the people. It's that what the hell are we going to do with an extra 50,000 people a friggin' day in our state? And they're like, you should absorb them and treat them with decency and kindness and respect. And they're like, it ain't the kindness and respect part. We don't have anywhere to put them. We can't afford to feed them. How are we going to take our tax money from the citizens of this state that's supposed to be used to like build bus lines, fix their roads, keep the water running, and instead we got an extra 50,000 people a day that we got to feed? All of their tax money is going to go to taking care of the immigrants, and then they're going to be angry, and we're going to get voted out as we should. How about we send them some to York City, and they sent them to Chicago or New York or wherever, and the people there who had been screaming that the immigrants should be allowed to stay here or whatever, who had no problems with, the more the merrier, suddenly woke up and realized, I think Houston, we have a problem, right? Again, I'll get back to it. And I've said this, you might have heard me. Forgive me if you've heard me say this before. Forgive me if you've heard me say this before, but I got to say this. Donald Trump said, yes, if I was in charge, then we wouldn't have had to make a deal with Maduro. Nicaragua would have fallen, and then we'd have got all of the oil free. In other words, he ain't that much different than him. We'd overthrew the government and stole their stuff. I don't know why people think this guy's some kind of a winner. He ain't. I ain't saying that Biden ain't worse. Biden's one of the worst ever. But I'm just saying, if you think Trump's the solution, I'm sorry. We ain't got a solution here. Look, think about this. Right across the border there, a little bit down the road, is Venezuela with 30 million people. If Trump had his way, he would have destabilized Venezuela so we could get the oil. Destabilize, impoverish a big old nation with 30 million people. Where the hell do you think those people would have showed up? They'd have went straight to the border. And so now we'd have 1 million Venezuelans at the border. And Trump would say, we've got to do something about all of these immigrants. We've got to stop the immigrants. My point being, he'd do the same policy as the very people that he's attacking over immigrants, and he'd only make it worse if you never address the problem, which is U.S. imperialism, which is U.S. exceptionalism, which is the U.S. saying we can go around around the world and destabilize your country, your entire region, and then we don't understand why all the people in your country or your region showed up at our border. That's reality. People can say what they want about immigration or non-immigration. I dare somebody to argue with that logic and say, logically speaking, that has nothing to do with it, Garland. No, it's not that we're destabilizing entire regions of the world, blowing things up and destroying everything. It's that everything's wonderful in those countries. It's all their own faults. And we're stealing their stuff. We're stealing their stuff, and that's what we're doing. And then the ruling elite is just as happy to see them show up at the border. And now they got a plan. I knew sooner or later these bastards would come up with something. And now they got a plan. And when you start seeing that the people here are wising up, saying, you're going to use me for cannon fodder, they're looking at Ukraine. And they're saying, let me tell you something. You're throwing these just people to the dogs. 500,000 or more dead, 100,000 dead in like a month or two. They have the people in charge of the U.S. and Europe are like, we support Ukraine. Well, I sure as hell hope they don't support me. What kind of support is that? We support you. Oh, really? How are you going to support us? All right. We're going to help you get in a fight with a country 28 times your size with like 5 times or 4 times the population. For starters, I'd be like, that? Did you support me? Yes, that's the way we're going to support you. We're going to get you in a war with a nuclear superpower, one in which you have no chance. But do not fret, my dear friends, because we got a plan. We're going to come up with a narrative. And the narrative is going to say They're fighting with shovels. They're incompetent. They're losing. You're winning. Are we actually going to be winning? Now you're going to get slaughtered. But we're going to have a great narrative. And the narrative is going to say you're defeating the Russians. You're winning. You're blowing them up. You're killing them. You're, as Mo from the Three Stooges, you're murderizing them. That's the narrative. So they went to Ukraine and they gave them a narrative. You're murderizing them. And they threw them out on the battlefield. Think about this. They said to young men, see over there? Yeah, that's a minefield over there. And on the other side, there's dragon's teeth, there's machine gun nests, artillery, you name it. It is a kill zone. That area over there is designed to swallow up and annihilate any human that comes within a mile of it. Okay, we want you to attack right up the middle of it. I mean, they literally did that. They literally, I saw video of it. They literally sent Ukrainians in like an armored personnel carrier. A 50 cal round will go in one side of those damn things and out the other, right? Oh, by the way, did I mention that were minefields? They put them in an army, in an APC and said, yeah, straight that go in that direction. But the Russians are over there. Exactly. They got minefields and dragon's teeth and machine gun nests and aviation and all kinds of multiple, they're going to kill us. Yeah, they probably are. That's your job. Go forward. And you'd see these things where there's these videos on Telegram where there's like 3 or 4 armored personnel carriers and there's like a drone watching them, like a Russian drone. You got the video watching them and they're like, going down across the field. And there's some soldiers walking around them looking like this. And you're like, you got 5 armored personnel carriers and a couple dozen poor bastards on foot. And they are walking into a minefield. Does anybody really think that a half a dozen armored personnel carriers and 20 or 30 schmucks on foot are going to somehow make it through that minefield, get to the dragon's teeth, navigate that, and they'll go to the rear Russian lines and take them out? Did anybody really think that happened? They were cannon fodder. That's what they did. They threw these people to the dogs. They might as well have grabbed them by the hair and put a bullet in their mouths and pulled it themselves to trigger themselves. They killed them. And these people are in charge of our country. They have absolutely no respect for human life. They have a reckless disregard for human life. And now, because they can't get the people they need because their citizens are wising up, guess what? Guess what the move is now? I'm going guarantee. Well, I guarantee you that it is not an accident. Let me look at the date here. Boop, 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 boop. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. Look at this. This is a coincidence, right? Right? December 5th, 2023, proposes letting illegal aliens in the military. Now we will go to look at some dates here. 7 hours ago, Germany waives allowing foreign citizens into the army. And I will guarantee you, if I start searching right now for allowing foreign citizens, undocumented people, illegal aliens into the citizens, into the military, into the army, I'll find it all over Europe. I'll find it all over the place. You'll find it everywhere. Why is that? Because look, think about this. What would happen? The U.S. would say, perhaps we should do lockdowns, and all the lackeys in Europe would say, let's do lockdowns. Perhaps we should do mandates, and then all the lackeys in Europe would do mandates. Where the head goes, the body follows. They would say, everybody, we're going to do this, and everybody else would do what they're told. And now they're saying, hey, we got a lot of undocumented immigrants sitting around here doing nothing, and they will not fight. They will not push back. They can't, because we'll send them back. So we'll say to them, good news. Would you like to be a citizen? Yes, I would. All right, here's all you got to do. We'll put you in the military. We'll train you. You'll be nice and safe. Don't worry about that. We're not going to tell you to do anything that you'd be otherwise inclined to do. We're going to look out for you, and then you'll get your citizenship after 5 years in the military. See, you'll only get 2 out of you, or 4, or something like that. You get 5 out of these people. 5 years in the military. Oh, really? Yes. And then you'll get full citizenship. And we'll give, and here's the other thing. If you go in the military, when you go out, they got to give you VA benefits, right? They got to give you college, all these things that are guaranteed to people who are in the military. You think they're going to give it to them? They'll put the undocumented in the military, and then they'll say, now, unlike American citizens, when you get out, we are giving you your citizenship, certainly. We'll give you 6 months severance pay or something when you get out. And here's what we're going to do. You ain't getting none of the rest. You're not getting health care. You're not getting the education, all of the things that American citizens get when they come out of the military. You're not getting any of the veterans benefits. You get nothing. You'll just be happy with your citizenship, right? And then it'll be cheaper. They don't have to pay all those benefits. They put them in there. They get their legs blown off. They come out. Hey, my leg's blown off. Yeah, you're on your own now, buddy. Peace. Adios. Hola. Whatever the hell, right? So they can have a bunch of people in that they can control. B, have a bunch of people in that if they have an internal uprising, they can turn them on the people and they have to wipe them out. And C, it's cheaper now. Now imagine, take 100,000 people and you don't have to give them health care after they get out anymore. You don't have to give them mental health care. You don't have to give them anything. You have to give them VA, the loans, student, money that they get for college. You don't have to give them the guarantees they get for home loans. Now think of all of the billions of dollars they save. They will eventually turn it completely over to the point where the military is all undocumented. They just want a mercenary army because it's cheaper. They can let them out. They can control them with threats. They can let them out and give them nothing. And they got to take it because otherwise they got to go to hell back. And Americans get nothing but a mercenary army that doesn't have anything in common with you. And once you finally have had enough, when you finally wake up and say, damn, I've had enough. You're telling me to hate Russia and China and Iran and all these other countries and North Korea. I'm told to hate everybody. I don't. I hate you. You elitist bastards. Time to go to knuckle junks. And that's when they say, we saw this coming. We kind of knew the time would come, as bad as we're screwing you, that you would wake up one day and realize how bad we're screwing you. And so what we're going to do is now we're going to bring those people out and we're going to tell them to shoot you. And you know what? They will. We'll tell them we taught them how to, they're helicopter pilots. They'll fly over you and machine gun you. They're pilots of bombers. They'll fly over the crowds and bomb us. They'll take you out. They'll do whatever we said. What did we tell them to do? Because we got them over a barrel and they don't know you anyway. That's the plan, my dear and fluffy friends. All right, let's take a peep and look. And by the way, I'm on Rumble now also. And I still haven't got a Rumble rant. I don't even know if I'm eligible for one. I know there's a Rumble rant. One of these days, I'm going to get a Rumble rant. I really believe that. All right. The U.S. empire is gaslighting us all to death. You are correct, Macarius 39. Now let's continue to look at the super chats. Thank you very much for your great program, says Small Town Voice 1. You're a big town voice. Small town voice. Eric says, funny thing is that migrants tend to side with the victims. The Irish migrants in the United States Army sided with Mexico at the USA-Mexico War. Interesting. We will see. But remember, they're going to have them over a barrel. See, that's the thing. I'm saying the migrants are good people, but they'll have them over a barrel. And they'll say, if you don't, we're going to send you back. We're going to take everything. We're going to, who knows what. They may say, look, you know how it's the military. They may say that's insubordination. And for insubordination, you get shot. They can do that in the military. Let's go. Donald Smead, thanks a lot, Mr. Smead. Anybody else have anything to? Crown Heights, Brainiac, Darian's. Where can I get that hat? Oh, thank you. It's a secret. All right. Rockfin. Anybody doing anything over there? Thanks, everybody on Rockfin. Let me check because I got to figure out if there are Rumble rants because I don't even barely know what the hell that is, but I'm going to look. There's a Rumble rant. Thank you very much. Oh, there's Rumble rants. There's such a thing. Let me look. Miriam $5. Mario MN. How about my real name says, here's a Rumble rant for you. And Chow Chow Kathy says, okay, see if Rumble rant works. Great info as always. My real name says, love your content, Garland. Black Market Nick says, yo. And Chow Chow Kathy says, yo, yo. Wow, Rumble rants actually work. Those. So let me just say this. So since I moved to Rumble, my very first Rumble rant is Mario MN. My second is my real name, and my third is Chow Chow Kathy. So Mario MN, my very first Rumble rant. Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to cry, but I better run because the Mercenary Army is going to get me. All right, let's try to go here. Cobb fan, great job with your insights. Thank you very much. Jungle Jingle said, Jangle Jingle? I said Jungle Jingle. Jangle Jingle says, the Mercenary Army doctrine will invariably degrade the empire's overseas capabilities, forcing them to focus inward and sacrifice their quisling pride. See, the thing about it is this. Their biggest fear is always internal uprising. The ruling elite are always afraid of an internal uprising first and foremost. That's their big fear. Revolution, Sabarano, Brazil. Thanks. You see, they create the environment for revolution, right? They screw the people over so bad that the people can't take it anymore, and the people are ready to fight back, to push back. If you look at some of the things that the signers of the document and back then, and those people, they understood it, and they said, hey, look, people need to be able to push back because every now and then these bastards might get out of hand. So they knew very good and well that, in fact, what they were saying was, you better be prepared because we're members of the ruling elite and we know how these scumbags are that we're dealing with, right? How about where you go with? Come on, Garland. Thank you, Crown Heights. Super sticker Conan. Alex Fox, super sticker. And in fact, one of the things I may start doing, I do my hats. People are asking me, I may start selling hats. I got to start selling hats. That's what I'll start doing. I'll start selling hats for those who may want these hats. Because I got this one. Look at this. Got my Genocide Joe hat. I got, believe it or not, you see how that's a J for the Genocide Joe? Here's the reason. Because when I went to order my Genocide Joe hat, it wouldn't let me. Oh, Google's like, oh, no. You're hurting. What is it? You're hurting. You're violating our community standards. I guess Genocide Joe is not allowed. And so I had to change it to a J to be able to get the hat because Google was like, no. Margaret still won't fight as hard, rather surrender than die. Ask Ritter when he comes back. I'm going to talk to Ritter about that. But yes, I'm with you. I'm not saying it's a good plan, but I'm saying it's damn sure it looks like it's theirs. Red Chili Pepper has a super sticker. Thank you. Sabrano, Brazil. Thank you. Crown Heights. No, that's Rolf. Crown Heights says, for the I Support Yemen Hat Fund. Thank you. I'm going to work on that here this weekend. Ultimately, the ruling elite are doomed. Yes, they are. They always create the environment. They create the environment for revolution. That is what they do. Let me see. Oh my gosh, there's more Rumble rants. Best Korea says America is gross. All right. Well, thanks a lot, everybody. I certainly appreciate that. It is certainly appreciate everybody. And don't forget, follow the Critical Hour on Rumble. Follow me, of course. Everybody, if you're everybody on YouTube, please. 2 things we need to do. I need you to do. Number 1, hit the like button. Number 2, follow me over rockfin.com/Garland Nixon. Last but not least, follow me on Rumble. I don't have a lot of Rumble subscribers yet, and I got 1,900 subscribers. I need to get all of my subscribers on YouTube to subscribe on Rumble also, so I'll have the great numbers, because eventually, you know the deal. Sooner or later, they're going to throw my ass off of YouTube. The time will come when they're going to throw people like me, people like us, are going to be thrown off YouTube, and Rumble is available. And so I'm kind of getting my Rumble channel going, getting it all set up. So when and if that time comes, I'll be able to make my move over there where I can maybe actually say the things that I believe without having a chance, without being tossed off the air. And also, of course, Rockfin's great for that too. Rockfin.com/Garland Nixon. You see everything going across. You got Patreon, PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, which is always great. All that stuff, the Cash App, you name it. So thanks a lot, everybody. Certainly appreciate it. Spread the word, share this on all your social media platforms. I think this is a great discussion. I'm not hearing a lot of people have it. And as I said, it's not an anti-immigrant screed. This is not about the immigrants. This is about what channel. Oh, somebody says there's 2 channels on Rumble. Yeah, the one with the I'll put it like this. The one that actually has videos on it. It has 1,900 followers and it actually has videos on it. So if you check the 2, go to the one that has videos. It just says Garland Nixon all together in small caps. It has a little round picture of me. I don't, but the hell, I got to figure out why I got 2 channels and get rid of one of them, because one of them clearly has nothing on it. All right, thanks a lot. Peace, everyone. Don't forget, assault the like button, hit the like button, share this on all your social media platforms. And if you can, certainly I appreciate any help for the channel. If not, just save your money, take care of your family, and share the videos. I'm